Okay, before we get started, I've had some people ask me why I have decided to do the tutorial before MLB The Show 19 comes out, because yeah, this is MLB The Show 18, they're similar, but they aren't the same game, so why am I putting out a tutorial using MLB The Show 18? And that is a valid question. There are a few reasons. One, I'm doing this because the concepts that I'm going to be talking about, at least so far, have transcended each iteration of the game. They're the same in MLB 15, 16, 17, 18. They're virtually the same. There aren't that many differences, and if there are differences, when 19 comes out, I will address them in an update video once that comes out. The second reason is because it will help you, it'll give you enough time to go in 2018 and really practice all the concepts that I'm going to be talking about in this video, so that once 19 comes out, you are ahead of the curve instead of behind the curve. So that's another reason. Mostly it's just because I think that it'll give you guys time, and yeah, I mean, I don't really have any other reason aside from that. I just think it's better to get this out quicker so that you guys can really get this in your head and start thinking about it, practicing it. And so once 19 comes out, you'll be better than you would have been if I put this out the day after MLB 19 came out and you started practicing it then. I think you'll avoid a lot of losses this way. So anyway, that's my answer to that question, and now let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Well, what's up, everybody? This is Beanie, and welcome back to another video. This is my official zone hitting tutorial, the most popular videos that I ever do on my channel. I think my two highest viewed videos ever are my two zone hitting tutorials. And this year, I decided that I'm going to split it up into three different parts: the beginner version, the intermediate version, and the advanced version. Now, the reason that I decided to do this, well, it's for a couple reasons. One, that juicy, sweet ad revenue. It's just nom 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 nom. Get way more views this way. And two, it'll help you guys more easily sift through what level you think that you need to take. Although I would recommend that you watch all three videos, because there might be some tips in there that you've never heard before. You know, that there might be some advice in all three of the videos, because even the beginner version is going to contain some kind of unique tips that I haven't seen anyone else give, or not many people give. So I would watch all three of them if I were you. So anyway, with that being said, today what we're going to be going over, we're going to be going over lineup construction, how you should best construct your lineup, and then we're going to be talking about how to improve as whenever you're first starting out in zone. And I just need to tell you guys before we get started, and I need you to keep this in mind, that a lot of the tips that I'm going to be recommending in this video are just going to be kind of training methods to help you get better at zone hitting, and they're not necessarily going to apply to the more advanced hitters, or even the great hitters or anything like that. They're not gonna apply across all skill levels. They're just going to be a way for you to get better until you can start using more advanced techniques, once you get a little more used to using zone hitting. So with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, now when it comes to lineup construction, I see a lot of people doing really just the wrong things. I see a lot of people that will stack out their lineup like this, which is just ridiculous, having 4 lefties in a row and then 4 righties in a row. That's not the way to construct your lineup. I see a lot of people doing something like this. Yeah, like this right here, going 2 2 2 2. That's better, but that's still not gonna really get it done. What you really want, you want one of two models. You want either the lefty righty lefty model, which I don't prefer this model. I think this model is silly. So the lefty righty lefty model, and then for your back four, you righty lefty alternate, or you have the righty lefty model. That's the one that I prefer. And if you can't find a balance between righties and lefties, or maybe you have 5 righties and 3 lefties, something like that, that's fine. Just make sure that you're alternating them as often as possible so that your opponent can't get a platoon advantage. So what I'm saying is whenever you face a lineup like this, once your opponent decides to start going into his bullpen, let's say that he's facing off against Chase Utley, and he wants to throw a lefty because Chase Utley doesn't hit lefties as good. So the idea is that he would come in, face Chase Utley. Maybe you even have a platoon for Chase Utley like Javier Baez that you could throw in if you wanted to, but if not, he'll pitch to Chase Utley. He'll probably get him out, but then the very next batter, he'll have to face Mike Trout, who murders lefties. And then once he faces Mike Trout, you have a much better chance of getting a hit against that lefty. And he could, in theory, he could go ahead and bring in a righty to face Mike Trout, but then if he does that, he has Ted Williams behind that, and he's going to have to face the best hitter in the game with a platoon disadvantage. So you see what I'm saying? Alternating righty-lefty, it's definitely the most optimized way to create your lineup. And, you know, I guess he could try to platoon all three of these guys, you know, go lefty, righty, lefty in his bullpen. But if he does that, his bullpen is going to be burnt in like 2 innings, you know, so it's not really a viable way to go about it for him. So this is definitely the most ideal way to do it. Now, one way that I think is really beneficial to constructing your lineup, one thing that I think really helps is switch hitters. I think switch hitters are probably the most valuable commodity in MLB The Show, because you can think of it as a right-handed hitter, you know, but a right-handed hitter who's never going to have a platoon disadvantage. What I mean by that is if I sub this Chipper Jones in for this, let's just say George Brett, because this Chipper Jones can play shortstop. Now it's almost like I have 5 righties in my lineup because I only have 3 guys who are going to have a platoon disadvantage against a left-handed pitcher. Chipper Jones is going to be fine in that aspect. And then if I take Jose Ramirez and I put him in at second base, now I only have 2 guys that are going to have a platoon disadvantage against left-handed pitching. So get as many switch hitters as you can in your lineup, and whenever you're constructing your lineup, just kind of think of them as right-handed hitters, because if I do this right here, if I lead off, or well, let's say I lead off Mike Trout, that makes more sense. Then I go Chipper Jones right here, you know, that looks like a righty kind of thing, but since Chipper Jones is a switch hitter, he can also hit left-handed. Then I can go ahead and put Ted Williams behind him, so I'll have basically 2 left-handed hitters back-to-back, but not really, since you're not going to get a platoon advantage against Chipper Jones. Then throw maybe Albert Pujols there, Stan Musial there, Mike Schmidt here, or actually Mike Piazza there, then Jose Ramirez and Mike Schmidt. You have a nice little alternating lineup with a couple guys that have advantages versus both sides. And also, my final tip for lineup construction is if you do have a left-handed or right-handed hitter who isn't that balanced, who has heavy platoon splits. Let's say I usually don't like guys that have heavy platoon splits. Who is a guy? Maybe a guy like Utley. He doesn't really hit you know, lefties all that well. He has good contact, but not a lot of power. So maybe this is a guy that you wanted to platoon. If you have a guy like this in your lineup, or even a righty, who is a righty that has pretty heavy platoon splits? I don't know. Let's say, well, that's kind of a reverse platoon split. Let's see here. Steve Pearce. Steve Pearce is kind of one of those guys. So if you have this Steve Pearce card that hits lefties really good, but doesn't hit righties particularly well, then you would want to have a right-handed platoon. Actually, you would probably put this Steve Pearce on the bench and then roll with somebody like, I don't know, maybe Frank Thomas, another righty, since he hits righties perfectly well. And then, but no, since he hits lefties good. But basically, Rod Carew. Here we go, Rod Carew. You'd want like this Rod Carew at first base. You know, he doesn't hit righties all that well, but he doesn't hit, he has even less power versus lefties. So if he brought in a lefty to face Rod Carew, maybe you sub in that Steve Pearce to get the platoon advantage against the lefty, lots of power and all that. So always have that platoon advantage ready. And you know, your main goal is to just never find yourself in a situation where you are forced into taking the platoon disadvantage. Now, sometimes you may have the platoon disadvantage and you just decide to keep it because you may think that, you know, doing something about it will hurt you later in the game, and that's perfectly fine. But it's always nice to know that you have those options if you need them. So always keep that in mind. Okay, now that is going to do it for all this menu bullshit. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. Let's go into batting practice, and I'm going to give you my best beginner tips for zone hitting. Okay, so we're in practice mode now, and I'm going to be using all-star hitting just so I can better demonstrate kind of what I want to be talking about here. It's, you know, usually I use legend difficulty offline, but we're just going to be using all-star because legend difficulty, even for me, can be very difficult to hit on, and I want to be able to demonstrate these things a little bit better. But the first tip that I have for beginning players is your approach is going to change based on how many strikes you have. And once again, let me say this, that this is only for beginning hitters, guys who are just getting into zone hitting. This is what you need to be doing just to be getting used to the concepts that zone hitting kind of presents to you. This is going to be your training wheels version of zone hitting. So what you want to do is you just, if you don't have any strikes on you, you just want to set your PCI in one place and look for one pitch. Let's say a fastball. Okay, I didn't get a fastball in the zone that I wanted, so I let it go. I took a strike, that's fine. Now with one strike, I'm gonna set it in one zone, and I'm gonna, okay, all right. I'm gonna look for one pitch in one zone, actually just one zone, but any pitch in this zone, I'm gonna hit. Okay, he didn't throw it in that zone. Now I have a 2-1 count. You know, this is kind of working the count. This is what an advanced person would do, but you're just doing it in a different way. So let's go there. Okay, we got a 3-1 count now. Nice. He did not throw it in our zone. My fingers are really trembly today. Okay, let's go right here. That was kind of in my zone, and I decided to, you know, just kind of adjust it a little bit, swing at it. But it was basically in that general area that I was looking for. We just didn't get a base hit out of it. So yeah, okay. With 0 strikes, you are going to look for one pitch in one zone, and you're just going to keep your zone there. And if you get that one pitch, you crush it. With 1 strike, you're going to stick to one zone, but you're going to look for any pitch, and you're going to try that. With 1 strike, this is going to be helping you work on your timing mechanisms. You know, being able to judge a fastball from a curveball, a fastball from a slider, a curveball from a slider, a changeup from a fastball. You're going to be able to distinguish all those things, and this is just going to be you working on timing those pitches up. You don't have to do this in online gameplay. You can come into a practice mode and practice it that way. But it's really this whole beginner training wheel, as I like to call it, kind of setup is just to get you to kind of work on your timing and work on feeling where your finger is going to be relative to the PCI on the screen. So if you set up and in, your finger is getting used to putting your PCI up and in the strike zone, and at the same time you're working on your timing. So if you're more advanced, this is definitely not the way that you would approach an at bat. You would not just sit in one spot and hope that the pitch comes there. But if you're a beginner, it really does help you pick up on some of the mental and physical concepts that zone hitting is going to throw at you once you start to rise in levels. So yeah, that's in my opinion, it's a really, really good way to just kind of get started with zone hitting. And if you do decide to do this against online opponents, begin to look for human patterns. Obviously, I'm not going to pick up any patterns here because I'm playing against the computer. You know, it's just randomly generated, but against a real human on the other side of another screen, you're gonna start noticing that they do similar things really often. Like, you know, on a 1-1 count, they seem to come in with a high and inside fastball quite a lot. On a 2-strike count, they really seem to go to that slider a lot against righties. You know, stuff like that. You see, there's a home run right there, picking up patterns. No, I'm just kidding. That was just reaction. But anyways, yeah, look for patterns, because I promise you, if you especially at the lower levels, you'll really start to see some pretty distinct patterns emerge within a game, and you can use that to your advantage. You know, if a guy is just pounding you high and inside the zone, set your PCI there and wait for him to throw that, and then murder the ball. So yeah, while you're doing the, sticking your zone in one spot and doing all that noise, kind of practice that a little bit. I think it'll help you out a lot. Now, one mistake that I think a lot of people make is that they will take these tips and they will go into some online games and they won't be good, or they won't be winning games right off the bat. And that's to be expected. These techniques are not going to be good in and of themselves. They are not going to let you, or they're not going to make you become a good, viable player online, because people can just kind of exploit these techniques once you get to the higher levels. So you're not going to be a good hitter once you start employing these techniques. You'll just be much better at learning the concepts, I guess, of zone hitting. So don't go in expecting to start crushing the ball immediately, because that's not going to happen. But slowly your mind will be training you to do all the things that you need to do to eventually become a good zone hitting, a good zone hitter. Ooh, is that gone? Get out. Get up. Get up. Get up, ball. Damn it. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to talk about, ooh, I just got a new subscriber. Thank you. The next thing that we are going to talk about is, okay, yeah. Now, this is where the frustration is really going to start to kick in. Wait, what do I do? Classic? No, default. Okay. This is where the frustration is really going to start to kick in. Okay, you're about to get really irritated with this. Wait, can I not deal with the sliders here? Okay, well, let's quit out for a second. And I'm going to turn the sliders all the way up, the pitch speed sliders. So this is where you're going to be like, oh my God, what the hell have I gotten myself into? Because you're probably not going to hit very much. You're probably going to be kind of in a bad way. Adjust sliders. Yeah, here we go. Okay. What I want you to do when you're just starting out is I want you to go to, batting practice. I want you to turn the fastball speed all the way up. I want you to turn the off-speed pitch speed all the way down. This is going to give you a huge window of speed change to deal with. You can, if you want to, if you don't have an early bat, if you have more of a late bat, where you're late a lot, you can turn both of them up at the same time. And, that'll just, kind of quicken your bat in general. We'll do that for this one. So whatever you're struggling with, just kind of use the sliders to adjust that. Okay, we're not gonna, wait, do I have to save it to, no, okay. All right. So let's go to a custom practice. Let's go back to Red Sox Yankees, October. Enter practice mode. Okay. All right. So you want to tune those all the way up, the pitch speeds. You also want to set the difficulty to legend. And the reason that you want to do this is, especially next year where they have turned the pitch speeds up on Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty, they've turned them way up. You're going to have an exceedingly quick bat in order to get to those pitches. So it's going to be harder than ever to climb the ranks of ranked seasons. So you're really going to want to practice, facing really fast pitching and not having a very big PCI, because that's what you're going to face once you start to climb the upper level. See, there you go. That's a hit right there. That was pretty nice. I'm actually surprised I did that. But whenever you go into this, it's probably not going to be that easy. The ball is going to be blowing by you really quickly. It's going to be hard to hit. But if you go in here and you really try to, just get your PCI as close as you can to the ball, and try to get around on the ball and take away the fastball and see if you can adjust to curveballs and things like that. If you really go in and maybe for 30 minutes to an hour a day, just kind of take batting practice and see how you can adjust to these pitches. Once you get into an online game, the pitches are going to look slow. Your PCI is going to look huge. So it really trains your mind to become a better hitter. In a competitive environment anyway. You're still, but you can probably practice forever and you're still not going to be great with a pitch speeds turned all the way up on legend. In batting practice, you're still probably going to struggle a little bit, but it will help you in a competitive environment anyway. Okay guys, that is going to do it for the beginner zone hitting tutorial. I did have one other tip that I wanted to put out in this video, but when I started to think about it, I was like, no, I think that's more of an intermediate tip, so I'll probably put that out in the next zone hitting tutorial. I'm gonna try to have this video out a little bit earlier than my last tutorial video, so probably around 3 o'clock if I can. Maybe even earlier than that, like 2:30 or something, because I have another tutorial on Battle Royale drafting that I want to get out a little bit later today, and then tomorrow I'll have the intermediate zone hitting tutorial, and then hopefully the day after that I will have the advanced version, and then we can move on to pitching and fielding and all that good stuff. So anyways guys, I love y'all. I will see y'all. Oh, please leave a like on this, please. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment letting me know what you think if you have any objections. So yeah, I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow, but until then, peace.